Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Spectre of Communism. Let's continue where we left off after the second or third battle of Kharkov, sorry. Yeah, let's first of all go for Air Force Training level 2. I did talk about that earlier. So we are recording, that's good. We did take care of that. Now let's go to the units. Now, first thing I need to do is discard all the winter equipment. Because those will not be necessary for the next mission. And obviously takes a lot of space. Now I do want to change that to the correct trucks. While I'm at it, just so that I won't forget. Get rid of that. Yeah, I know it takes pretty long, but we're quite close. Alright, now let's talk about level ups. I guess for the bombers, we're gonna go for vulnerabilities. And that's the upgrades. So that's plus minus on air defense, but they get more ground attack and such. Air Cobra could be upgraded, but not really. Yeah, so upgrade there, there, and there. Then over strength for all these units. 13, 12. You don't get to level up. Yeah, it's primarily the first strike. Yeah, exactly. There we go. 30, 12, and 12. Alright. That takes care of these guys. Now, equipment for the guard. So they have sappers. I think all of them have sappers. Yeah, so I will give you the mortars. And no. So mortars were free pretty much. Flamethrowers are pretty decent. Generally. It's okay. This is free. Gun range becomes 2 and they get quite a bit of that, so that's actually pretty good, I think. I like flamethrowers, but I really have to take a look like this, huh? Okay, you guys have it. So then, yeah, you guys have flamethrowers, and the other guys can get these. Yeah. Alright, perfect. 14, 14, 13, and you're at 13. Okay, great. Then, additional equipment is probably the best. And go. Let's take a look. You need to go to 14 strength, 13. You're already at 13. Alright. That takes care of the artillery. Next up, anti-aircraft. That's really expensive for 3 heart attack. No thanks. Heh. No thank you. There could be an upgrade to that, but I'm not really interested. You have additional ammunition now, that's good. Let's make sure that all of these at least also have the tank flamethrower. I'm always so disappointed whenever these units don't have it. I know it's really expensive, but I just really think it's worth it to get it every time. One other thing that I want to do though is I want to get an anti-aircraft. Man, the SU-152, I think it must be really good. 1713. Let's see so 1713 has a range of 3. What about the Tiger? Just info. 1713. What is its defense? 13. Yeah, it's not bad. It does work kind of like an artillery. We'll see. I unfortunately don't really have the points for it. Don't we have a self-propelled AA? No. But I would like to get another one. 290. Sure. Let's level you up. Mobile, and what do these guys have? They have extra reach. Yeah, that's okay. And anti-air, okay. Let's go for the half tracks. The thing is that yeah, that's already 480. What could I possibly do to scrounge together enough for that? Probably nothing. No, I don't see myself being able to upgrade that. Let's upgrade these two. Got you to 12. And I guess no, if I play my cards right, I can probably get rid of a few of these. Let's just get rid of it on you, for example. That would already allow me to upgrade this one. Yeah, then I have 20 left. but that's not such an issue. I would still give these guys some free vicars. That's not a problem. So you can do with spaced armor. Yeah, I guess we'll have to make do then with this.
We stumbled into the same trap twice.
1 second though.
We stumbled into the same trap twice. Once again, they breached our flank and hit us from the rear. Repetition of old mistakes is not the best strategy for winning a war. It's more than time for us to think ahead. A few more disasters like this and it'll be 1941 all over again, with the fate of the motherland hanging on a thread.
Defending is always easier than advancing. Even the greenest lieutenant knows that. Your plan makes excellent sense. First, we'll bleed the enemy dry with a layered defense. Then, we'll make a massive strike and force him to retreat with his formations broken. As for Kharkov, I'm inclined to think that defeat taught us to be cautious.
Sure. Let's get started with the Battle of Kursk.
The German army is weak after the winter battles. Now is the time. We should renew the offensive and level the front.
The Kursk bulge is our main worry point right now. I'd bet 1,000 rubles the Germans want to cut it off and occupy it.
That is why we have to anticipate them. We must strike preemptively.
No, we don't have to do any such thing. We should reinforce our defenses and bait the Germans to attack. Our plan should be counterattack. We have a chance to use Manstein's own tactics against him.
Comrade Stalin ordered me to develop a plan for an offensive. You don't need much strategic skill to sit and wait for the Germans.
The Kharkov battles taught us quite the opposite. The way to defeat the Germans is to lure them into the trap.
I like your plan, Zhukov, but I do not think Comrade Stalin will approve it. You know better than anyone how much he loves offensives. And if you were in charge, you would be advocating an offensive too.
Let me remind both of you that I'm in charge of this operations planning. The Red Army will attack. That will be our plan.
We shall see about that.
Comrade Stalin, the attack plan is complete. We are ready to launch our Kursk offensive.
Comrade Stalin, I disagree. We're making a mistake. We should bait the German attack, wear them down, and then counterattack. We will pay them back for Kharkov.
Bold words, Comrade Zhukov. You suggest giving the enemy the initiative? But what if the Germans do not attack?
I'm sure they will. We won't really give them the initiative. It's just a ruse. We will be ready to strike at the first opportunity.
I have good news, comrades. Our agent obtained secret German plans for an offensive against the Kursk Bulge. They're calling it Operation Citadel.
I have already studied this plan. Your intuition served you well, Zhukov. Indeed, the Germans plan to cut off Kursk Bulge. We even know the exact date they will attack.
Well, in view of this fresh intelligence, I certainly can see a need to adjust our operational plans.
Agreed. Zhukov, I like your boldness and your shrewd ideas. It seems you learned a thing or two at Kharkov. You will be in charge of Kursk. You will be responsible for operational planning and implementation.
As you command, Comrade Stalin. What's the situation on the front line?
Bad, Comrade Zhukov. The Germans broke through our first line of defense and gained some solid footholds.
We need to put in our reserves. Otherwise, the Germans will break through to Kursk and cut off all of our troops east of the city.
I agree with Comrade Rakosovsky. If we don't hurry, we risk losing everything.
Their successes are only temporary, you'll see. Since you believe we can't do without putting our reserves in, fine. That's what we'll do. Comrades, we have two main objectives. First of all, we must hold Kursk at all costs. If we lose it, we'll lose this entire battle. For that, we need to halt the German advance in the north and the south. We need to hit those attacking formations so hard that they cannot attack anymore. After that, we can begin thinking about a counteroffensive of our own.
Okay, one of the things that is really important for this mission is that right at the start there's going to be an objective which is very tough to get, and if you don't know about it right from the start, just like in the previous mission where you kind of needed to have precognition of what's going to happen in order to get all the objectives. Like in the previous mission, you had to know in advance what to do beforehand to get the maximum out of your counteroffensive. Especially in combination with the extra bonus objective to take the prisoners. Man, the sound is really high here. Let me just take this down. Come on. I can't even hear myself talking. It's terrible. Okay, back to it. So the problem with this mission is that they have an objective that if you don't know about it in advance, you're not going to get it. Like you will not be able to do it. So you need to know it beforehand. What will happen is once you get close enough to Belgorod, a unit will spawn there, and that unit will move towards Kharkov and then immediately out. And you need to secure that unit, but the enemy also has a huge chunk of their counteroffensive right here. So if you go here and you're not prepared beforehand, then you'll go here and then the enemy unit will spawn and it's like, moving away. Before you have the chance to react, the counteroffensive moves in, and since it doesn't stop moving, it just immediately leaves. You have like no turns to get it because it moves like 4, 5, or 6 hexes a turn. Like the first is at Belgorod, a turn after it's at Kharkov, and a turn after it's here, and then it's gone. Like you cannot keep up with it because its movement is 6 or so. Maybe it's 5. It could be like that too. But it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this. It goes really fast. So you have to be insanely quick in order to get it. And if you don't know about it in advance, you will not get it. Like you will already lose. So I mean, you won't lose the mission, but you won't get an objective. And since I'm playing to get all the objectives, this is just something that you need to know in advance, or you can as well give up on that. That's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, I mean, I'm all pro tough challenges, but for me, those kind of things are sometimes maybe a step too far. Like just getting the objectives that are nigh impossible to do. Unless you know about them beforehand. Like it's not really about skill. It's about knowing beforehand that that objective is going to be there. And yeah, for me that just leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Another thing that you 100% need to know is that the enemy can actually capture Kursk within potentially 2 turns if you don't do anything about it. Yes, you heard me right. 2 turns. So you have to absolutely get some of your best units out there in order to to save it. because contrary to how it historically happened, the Germans are, well, exceptionally competent here. So that is something to keep in mind. Yeah, they will take it that quickly. So you need to be prepared for that as well. I'll drop a bunch of tanks. I'm not a big fan of the AT. Anyway, this is also the reason why I'm deploying all of my forces down in the center and south, because, well, you wouldn't be able to get those objectives otherwise. Oh, come on. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get those objectives otherwise. No. Bunch of fighters here. Those two will just go in there, so that's not important. Okay. What I want to be doing in order to actually get this objective is I don't want to get too close to Belgorod on the first turn, because otherwise you're going to exhaust all your movement. You won't be able to get the objective, and then, like, okay, I'm just gonna be, again, honest here. Perfect knowledge of the triggers is necessary in order to get this objective now. Now, some people might disagree, whatever, but the chance of ruining this objective by messing up how the triggers work is exceptionally easy. So, say, for example, that I deploy some forces here and I decide to go into the counteroffensive. These units have a range of 7, so I could technically get all the way up till here, trashing my way through it. Then I activate the trigger, the unit spawns there, I can't reach it this turn, you fail the objective. That's basically how it works. So if you cannot get this objective the moment that it triggers, you're too late. Because the unit will spawn here, and the turn afterwards, it will be here, or here, whatever, somewhere here. So then you need to fight your way through Belgorod on the next turn, and quite a few of these forces. It's just impossible to do. Like, there is entrenched infantry in here. It's just gonna take at least another 1 or 2 turns. You might be able to take Belgorod, but you surely as hell aren't going to be able to get all the way here. And then the turn afterwards, it will already be down here, and suddenly you find yourself having to fight also through bunker, and potentially units down here before you can get there. And it's a night turn, so then it's also impossible. So it's insanely easy to miss this simply because you would fail the trigger. And I mean, for me personally, I think there is another lesson for the developers. There's a different thing between an objective that's hard and an objective that's hard because of the triggers. And I feel like this is hard because, 1, you need to know about it in advance, and then 2, you still need to ace the triggers perfectly, because if you don't do that, then you're still going to be screwed. So yeah, that just kind of sucks. Anyway, again, just like the thing with, your unit, the enemy unit spawning directly on top of you out of nowhere without any prior warning, that's not a good idea. And personally, I think for something like this also, it's fine to put this in there, but at least allow this unit to be in here for 1 turn. Like, if you're saying it should not move on the turn that it spawns, then you're already fine. But the fact that it spawns and you're too late, that makes it exceptionally dependent on whether you know the triggers or not. Because, like I said, if I go and use this unit to just go and trash these German tanks, which you're obviously you're likely to do. If you're in my position, you have these guys, you're just going to trash these. I mean, you can, right? You want to dig into that German counteroffensive right away. But that just means you failed that objective that you didn't know about. So, yeah, that just it's not a fun experience for the player, so I don't think it's a good idea to do it like that. So as it is, I have to be very careful now not to move into this particular hex or get any closer to the objective. Like I don't know where that line ends, but I just I can't get too close. I might be safe in here, but again, I'm not sure. I am, okay. Yeah, so I'm not moving in there, obviously, because I think that will start the trigger. And like I said, activating trigger means not getting the objective, so... Yeah, I cannot kill this unit now. Because I don't want to go in there with any unit. Although I could use the double attack here. So that's basically where you're at that point. So I deliberately will not be moving forward because I will be activating that trigger. And yeah, I need to do this in such a way that that trigger activates as late as possible. Potentially after the first turn. That is fine. But... I need to also protect my aircraft or my my artillery here. I know they might actually bomb these, although they might not necessarily see that right away. I do also have the AA though. But yeah, that just generally sucks. Like I said, we know that they are likely to get there on the second turn. I think this is pretty dangerous, so I'll just do that. You go in there. I need the... I'm just gambling that they will not be able to see those. It's a pretty risky gamble, but... I have to pray. That took a pretty long time, obviously, before the AI has done all its moves. But okay, so far it seems to go reasonably well. I'm gonna go through this pretty fast. Most of this stuff is done to the blue AI. So I just kind of want to go through that quickly, because otherwise it's going to take half an hour. And as interesting as it is to watch the AI play the AI for 20 minutes, I'll gladly take the opportunity to skip through that. I've been talking about this in Panzer Corps 2 as well. Watching an AI play an AI is not interesting. That's why I'm happy I can skip it here. Or at least skip it through remotely quickly. Basically, yeah, I think the gist of it is that the AI is just getting trashed. And not just a tiny bit.
Comrade Zhukov, I've heard reports of new German self-propelled anti-tank guns. Can you tell me anything about them?
You're probably talking about their new elephants, Comrade Voroshilov. It is a powerful weapon, but not without weaknesses. You really should talk to engineers about the details.
To talk to our engineers, I need something to show them first. Grab me several of those vehicles. I heard lots of them are in action around Kursk. They need to be in working order. We can't learn much from a burnt-out Hulk.
Fine, Comrade Voroshilov. We'll see if we can catch you a live elephant.
Comrade Zhukov, our forward units report strange German bombers armed with cannons. It's too early to say how effective they are, but already they've wiped out some of our armored units.
Seems like Germans are looking for ways to fight our new tanks. Order our fighter squadrons to deal with this new threat.
Comrade Zhukov, for a while now, the German media have constantly been reporting about a fellow named Erich Hartmann. They call him the rising star of the Luftwaffe and the Reich's new national hero.
I've heard of him. Not too long ago, he shot down 7 of our planes in one day.
That won't do. Pass the word to our fighter pilots so we can even the score.
Good thinking, Comrade Zhukov. The death of such a national hero is bound to demoralize the Germans.
It's funny that they are actually able to see which person is in a specific plane, but I won't say anything about that. Okay.
Do you like cinema, Comrade Zhukov?
Oh, probably yes, I do. But I don't really understand what you're talking about.
Splendid! You will be happy to learn that not far from the front line, near Belgorod, our intelligence has found a famous German director. And you know what a fan I am of the movies. What I'd like you to do is go find this director and invite him to meet me for a chat.
Of course, Comrade Beria, but may I ask why in particular do you want to have chat with this fellow?
The thing is, Comrade Zhukov, that man works directly for Hitler and Goebbels. He films their propaganda films. I think you'll agree such a German deserves our special attention.
Certainly, that's perfectly clear. I will do everything possible to capture this fellow. We captured the German director for you, Comrade Beria.
Excellent, Comrade Zhukov. Send him to Moscow immediately. I can't wait to make his acquaintance.
Let me ask, what are you planning for him? Prison? Labor camps? A bullet?
Please, Zhukov, who do you take me for? That director is a man of arts and a skilled technician. We can use him. We need to learn every detail about how he makes films. After all, it's not just Hitler that needs his propaganda in the movie theaters.
I guess not. I'm not particularly sure what's the best movement for these guys. Oh, I can't undo that move, the ability, huh? Let's go in here. But you're going straight back. Now, without that AA. Still need to protect them, they're also out of range of this. As I discussed at the start, it's just insanely critical that we take proper care of that. Now I can at least destroy this too. Game? Come on. They have 4 left. Doesn't look too good, but that does. No, the main concern is to keep my unit safe from enemy error. I don't really have artillery support. Well, if they get their support back, but not here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could attack from a distance. Maybe they'll have poor vision. It's unlikely though. Yeah, one of the problems here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then they could technically move back 1 hex potentially, but destroying this doesn't really help me that much. How many more air units do I have to protect myself? 1. 2. So whichever 2 units I take, which is probably this and this. They need to be defended. I don't think they'll be able to see these 2. But no, I don't. Getting up in there. I'm just trying to hide my units. It's already risky enough of that, I think. Over here, but we'll see. I'm gonna be absolutely wrecked otherwise. Yeah, that's the problem for the first few turns here. It's just that the enemy air force is oh no. Yeah, well, I guess they're dead. That's how it looks like. Just forgot to protect them. Well. Let's see, it's really unfortunate they're moving that first, or not. Okay. I killed a fighter, huh? No, those are not my units. So obviously blue is losing a lot, like almost everything. It's funny how insane this Kursk offensive actually is compared to historically. In a sense, they practically have Kursk already, which is kind of weird at that. That's dumb. Oh no. Oof. That Overwatch really helped there. Okay, so I guess this turn is going to be useless. With useless, I mean only useless for me, because the enemy can still bomb me probably with quite good effect. Whereas anything I do will be fairly useless here, unless I take bunkers. Yeah, at least force them to take the bunker back. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.